I'm 92 years old, and if you had asked me at 40 what kind of life I was building, I would have told you I was doing everything right. I worked hard, long hours, early mornings, late nights. I believed in responsibility, in sacrifice, in building something stable for the people I loved. And for most of my life, that belief made me proud. But sitting here now, at the end of a very long road, I've realized something that took me decades to understand. Working hard wasn't the mistake. The mistake was believing that work could wait for life. But life would patiently wait for me. It didn't. And by the time I understood that, so much of it was already gone. When it all began, I was 24 when I got my first real job. Nothing glamorous. A small office with flickering fluorescent lights and gray walls that made every day feel the same. But to me, it felt like the beginning of something important. My father had worked hard his entire life, and I grew up believing one simple rule: a man proves his worth by how hard he works. So I threw myself into it. I stayed later than everyone else, came in earlier than I had to. I believed that if I just kept pushing, kept sacrificing, eventually life would reward that effort. And in some ways, it did. Promotions came, raises came, respect came. But something else quietly disappeared at the same time. The nights I missed, when my daughter was 6 years old, she had a school play. She had one line, just one. She practiced it in the living room all week, standing on a chair like it was a stage. Every night she asked me the same question: "Are you coming to watch me?" And every night I gave the same answer: "I'll try." The night of the play, I stayed late at work finishing a project. It felt important, urgent, necessary. By the time I got home, the house was quiet. My wife was sitting at the kitchen table. She said the play went well. Our daughter had looked out into the audience while saying her line. She had searched the crowd for me. I told myself it was just one night. There would be other plays, other moments, and there were. But I missed many of them. The dangerous thing about work. Work doesn't feel like a problem while you're doing it. It feels productive, responsible, even noble. You tell yourself you're doing it for your family, for stability, for the future. And sometimes that's true. But work also has a quiet trick. It convinces you that the things you're postponing will still be there later. The family dinners, the small conversations, the slow moments of life. You assume those things are permanent. They aren't. My son's question. When my son was about 12, he asked me something that stuck with me for years. We were driving somewhere together, just the two of us. And out of nowhere he said, "Dad, why do you work so much?" I laughed and gave the standard answer: "So we can have a good life." He looked out the window and said something I didn't know how to answer. "But we already have one." At the time, I thought he was just being a kid. I didn't realize he had already understood something I hadn't. Years move quietly. The strange thing about long hours and busy schedules is that time becomes blurry. One week becomes another. 1 year becomes 5. You tell yourself things will slow down eventually. After the next promotion, after the next project, after the next milestone. But work has a way of expanding to fill every available space in your life. There is always another email, another deadline, another reason to stay late. And while you're chasing those things, life keeps moving. Your children grow up. Your parents grow older. Friendships slowly fade, not dramatically, just quietly. The moment that opened my eyes, I was 67 when I finally retired. For the first time in decades, my calendar was empty. No deadlines, no meetings, no late nights. At first it felt strange, then it felt peaceful. I told myself this was the time I'd finally focus on everything I had postponed. But something unexpected happened. The house felt quieter than I imagined. My daughter had her own life now. My son lived in another state. Friends I hadn't made time for over the years had slowly drifted away. And the man who once had no time suddenly had too much of it. That's when I realized something painful. Work had been my life for so long. I'd slowly allowed the rest of my life to shrink around it. The truth about sacrifice. People often talk about sacrifice like it's heroic, and sometimes it is. But sacrifice only makes sense if you're clear about what you're trading. For most of my life, I thought I was sacrificing comfort for security. What I didn't realize was that I was sometimes sacrificing presence. The simple act of being there. And presence is something you can't recreate later. You can't rewind time and attend the dinner you skipped. You can't go back and hear the conversation you missed. Those moments exist once, and then they become memories for everyone else. Something I wish I understood earlier. If you had asked me at 40 what success looked like, I would have described a career. At 92, success looks very different. Success is a phone call from your children just to talk. Success is sitting in the same room with someone you love and having nothing urgent to do. Success is having people in your life who remember you, not as someone who was always bus, but as someone who was present. Work can give you many things, but it cannot give you back the moments you traded for it. The midlife illusion. The most dangerous period in life might be your middle years. That's when responsibilities are high and time still feels abundant. You believe there's a long road ahead, so postponing things feels harmless. You tell yourself you'll slow down later. But later is a moving target. By the time it arrives, the landscape of your life has already changed, and you realize something important. Life wasn't waiting on the other side of work. Life was happening while you were working. What I see now, these days my mornings are slower. I drink coffee by the window, watch the street wake up, neighbors rushing to work, cars leaving driveways, people moving quickly, already thinking about the next task. And sometimes I wonder how many of them believe the same thing I believed for decades. That once they reach the next goal, once they earn enough, once things stabilize, then they'll finally start living. Maybe they will. But I know how easy it is to let that moment drift further and further away. What work actually cost me. Work gave me security. It gave my family stability, and I'm grateful for that. But it also cost me moments I can never recover. Small ones, ordinary ones, moments that didn't seem important at the time. A bedtime story, a walk after dinner, a quiet afternoon when nobody had anywhere else to be. Those are the memories that stay with you when you're old. Not the meetings, not the deadlines, not the promotions, just the moments you were there, fully there. If I could speak to my younger self. If I could sit across from the man I was at 35, I wouldn't tell him to quit his job. Responsibility matters. Providing for your family matters. But I would tell him something he never stopped to consider. Your work is part of your life. It is not your life. And the people waiting for you at home are not permanent fixtures in your future. They are temporary opportunities in your present. Treat them that way. The final lesson, after 9 decades of living, I've realized something simple. You rarely regret working hard, but you often regret working so much that life had to happen without you. I spent most of my life building a career, and by the time I finished, I realized the real wealth had always been somewhere else. In conversations, in laughter, in ordinary evenings with the people who mattered most. I thought I was securing a future, but life was asking for something much simpler, my time. If you're listening to me now, don't wait until you're old to understand that. Work hard, be responsible. But remember something the younger version of me never truly understood. Your career will not sit beside you at the end of your life. The people you love will. Make sure they remember you were there.